I'ma be bitch, I'm the bad witch. I'ma be rich, I'll make the beat switch. I'ma be bitch, I'm the bad witch. I'ma be rich, I'll make the beat switch. I'ma
Happy day, veteran.
bad witch. I'ma be rich, I'll make the beat switch. I'ma be rich, I'm the bad witch. I'ma be rich, I'll make the beat switch. I'ma be rich, I'm the
At work,
I'ma be rich.
wherever you're viewing from, I am good. And people are asking me how I am. I am good. I have my afternoon dose of my medicine, some pizza. Instead of putting it under my tongue, I'm just gonna have it. Pretty singing. And this light, this light is always the person on my forehead. So I try out. Turn the light off. Die. Oh, it's die. Pizza. We're supposed to have a turmeric. Turmeric is really good for you. Turmeric is actually one of the ingredients of curry, a spice used in India. This is why it's sticky. It is good. Some people are viewing us from work, and I'm happy that you guys had checked on me, viewed, and see how I was doing. Many thanks, many love, many appreciation. And much thanks, much love, and much appreciation. To display chat. Alright. We shall display chat today. Our most recent broadcast, most recent episode, and saved 54 minutes or 40 something minutes. And normally whenever I display chat to give or take how much they display. Sticky tape, sticky tape. Let me display and translate to you. Cool beans. This is being translated. No, my medicine doesn't make me sleepy. Only my night medicine. And I saw the doctor today, or saw the nurse today, and I'm supposed to be on 2 pills for or 3 pills, including my melatonin for sleep. Last night, this most recent night, I have been having, like, not dreams, I feel like I'm partially awake, and I keep on, like, tapping my toes, and I'm thinking about memories I've had with different people. Some are good memories, well, most of them are good memories. So half of your talk is insulting an Egyptian. I wonder where you had found that out. Must be from the plethora of streams. Plethora of videos. Nowadays, young kids just don't give a fuck. Younger kids, the younger generation, my generation before me, historically, common sense subjects within science and literature, they just don't give a fuck. They're not talking about historic stuff. I learned that there was a police station that was underground, and I think it was in Britain or something, and the entrance to the police station, because they utilized that police station for, like, riots and stuff, so it was underground, and the door to the police station was like a light fixture, because most of their light fixtures are, I don't know, styled with, gargoyles and stuff. I speak Indian. Oh, I was talking about turmeric. I got my mom on ordering turmeric. She'd been ordering the turmeric and ginger supplement. It's supposed to be really good for you. And then and on magnesium. Magnesium's supposed to be really good and help you sleep and stuff. So, you want your body to be feeling, full peak strength and full peak, ability to be stickity stickity. And so there's this commercial where everyone's at a graduation event, and this person's like, and you're gonna have to, you're all gonna have to figure out what you're gonna eat for dinner for the rest of your life. Which is kind of true because, you need to know how your body works and stuff. Canada has, it seems like they have it figured out with the free healthcare and stuff. I think Britain is the same. And they give everyone, Social Security. It would be great to receive the max of Social Security. Because you have, it's like on the, not on the scale, on the spectrum. Every time I see a rainbow, I think about the spectrum. Not a spectrum internet either. Because there is that too. Some people that are on the spectrum, there's a spectrum, to mental health. There's a spectrum to autism. There's a spectrum to, very many things. There are some people that are they're more straight than they are gay. Somehow they find themselves on the spectrum or something. And with culture today, you would think that, stuff like that would be, less stigmatized. Because I had many boyfriends that were white. I've had less boyfriends that were mixed or Spanish, and while they're probably questioning the whole time, are you on the spectrum? I was having a talk, it's not civil defense talk, though it's kind of a civil defense talk whenever you're talking about forgiveness, Oh my gosh, I'm dipping this in the pizza sauce. Tastes amazing. And there's so many brownies that would be disappointed in the fact that they're like, oh, you've dated white guys, you know, that's instigating. And then, you know, there's definitely the question in my mind, if there was a Hispanic that exuded enough effort, you know, would I be happier with, you know, a brownie? How will you know? You know, some things it's weird to question that. Something it's absurd because you're American and Americans are on a spectrum. You know, from the viewpoint of places and things and stuff and such. You know, the saying far and few between. Whenever just below us we have so many brownies, you know, and now, you know, there has, you know, now, all respect, you know, Haji, crazy for crying, crazy for trying. Well, you know, yeah, exactly. You know, I probably sound crazy because, you know, some would be like, oh, you're crying about it. And Alexi said toys. Well, there, you know, there was a question asked to me recently. They're like, what about your Mexican boy toy? Only who is to blame. You know, it's not nice to place blame. It's nice to be an adult about things, you know. And if you realize if you realize you've been slacking, you know, add a little bit of effort, you know. If you realize effort's not, you know, you have to, you know, things require effort. You know, I think back to my previous relationships and, you know, all the effort, you know, to keep me around, to, you know, keep me feeling, you know, special about the relationship. And so, I don't know if, you know, Hispanic men would necessarily feel like, oh, you know, you're streaming, you're giving your attention to, you know, a bunch of people. Whether or not that's a hobby or, you know, a career move, I don't think that you deserve to be treated differently based on how many people that you respond to on the internet. Because people on the spectrum would then try to make it some sort of underhanded competition to where you're like, oh, you know, who can talk to more people on the internet? And like, no, you know, with that whole spectrum stuff, you know, you have to, I understand you have to pick and choose your reactions and your responses. You know, and you know, you have to, you know, utilize consideration. Because to see or to imagine somebody flirting, you know, we're talking about the spectrum of things. You know, there are certain things that, you know, in a relationship, a girl can do and a guy can't do. You know? And sometimes those relationships are the more healthy ones. You know, the girl's a little bit more outgoing than the guy. So, the guy sits back and enjoys her company, regardless if she's giving him direct attention or giving him non-direct attention. Because if you love someone, you know, that's the question, you know, what are, you know, the things that you're willing to sacrifice to allow where you normally wouldn't allow. Maybe guys would be like, oh, you're flirting online. Maybe only the female can do it. Now, if the guy was involved with, like, the online life stuff, it's uncomplicated. They're asking, should I be concerned? Well, I'm just, you know, just a deep thinker. You know, the reason you would ugh is, you know, if you know that I'm correct, you know, in what I'm saying. You know, sometimes we have to, oh man, you know, that's true. My mom's friend, Holly, has been in a relationship with her husband, Ken, for, you know, years and years and years. Lifetime, you know. And Holly's very outgoing, you know, enjoys to, you know, to go out, to meet people, you know, to have some drinks. Kent doesn't, you know, enjoy drinking. He enjoys to, you know, to stay with his wife and allow her to let her have her fun. And he stays, you know, with his wife. He talks to his, you know, they relive conversations that she's had with other people. And they're 100% in love. You know, and it's time to, you know, talk about these things because, you know, a guy should not be shamed for allowing his girlfriend to you know, stream, or, you know, if she's flirting with people in her stream, you know, without calling her a whore. You know, we have to, you know, resort back to the chivalrous way, back to basics. We have to, you know, resort back to the chivalrous way of how we process relationships, you know? And, you know, we should learn from people who have had successful long-term relationships rather than these people that don't even know how to spell relationship. you know. And for those that do, maybe you utilize your effort to build relationships where you can, you know. There are people that, you know, become obsessed with the, you know, the community of, you know, of typing and of, you know, conversations that you can have virtually. And you have to realize, if you're going to type